going well. Oh, goodness sake. Oh, hello! You didn't just see that, did you?
I did.
Oh, I'm very glad that you've turned up. You look absolutely fantastic. Oh, what a wonderful ghoul.
I was hoping to scare you, but...
Oh, well,
seems
nothing scares me. But I have to say, you've done a jolly good job. Oh, I am happy
Thank you.
you've come. Were you in there all the time? I was,
Yes, the entire time.
oh,
I
jolly
was
good.
waiting for you. I even made noises, but you didn't respond.
I looked in. I wasn't sure. I thought I was hearing things.
No.
Oh, well, I want you to know there will be another chance. I'm just going to run and get changed. I thought perhaps I'd get into something as well.
Of course.
I'm terribly sorry. I'm sure we've met, but of course, who am I speaking with?
Charles.
Oh,
Charles Kane.
Charles Kane, yes. The gentleman
Wait.
that I met at Miss Kitty's cafe.
Yes, wait, let me remove the mask. Here we are.
Oh, that's wonderful. Oh, well, I'm going to dash off and, grab some bandages now, if you've seen what just happened to me.
Yes.
And quickly change, and then I'm going to rush back. Will you be reading
Of course.
tonight?
Yes, I got a story with me.
I'm really glad to hear that. I'll be as quick as possible. Do you need for anything?
No, I'm good.
I'll be as quick as possible. I'll be back in a moment.
Of course.
It was so glad you came through.
Howdy, partner.
Hello.
How do you help?
Oh, hello. I'll be out in just a moment.
Oh, wonderful, thank you.
What the hell is that? I want it. I want it. You
Oh my
there?
god!
Yes, you. Do you like scary stories?
No,
Why not?
cause I like Christmas and I like to spread joy and love. I don't like spooky stuff.
Oh, all right then. Well, that's no good. I was wondering if you wanted to come listen to some scary stories.
Where?
Oh, Shady Bell.
Right now?
Yeah, about 10 minutes.
Well, maybe. Maybe I come around. Is it free to join?
Yes, absolutely free. You're very welcome. You may well enjoy it. Scary stories, just a bit of fun.
It might take a bit for me because I'm doing a look for a costume.
Well, you better get on with it. Good luck.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
You look wonderful and scary.
Thank you. I have no legs whatsoever. That's amazing. I've tucked them all in, you see. No idea. Absolutely no idea. So close to death. Oh my god. I can't believe how close to death you are. That's so funny. Just dead out here. What are you doing there? Hello? Cooey? Hello? Is anybody out here? Hurt? Do you own a black horse?
Yes.
That's yours. I see. I thought
It
somebody
is.
was hurt. What do you
No.
think?
Well, this looks much better.
I have absolutely no idea what I'm supposed to be, but I've managed to sort of just walk along on one foot. It just looks like I've only got 1 foot, which is quite good.
Oh,
Yes. Just tuck the other one
Yes.
inside.
if you look from this side, it looks like you're floating.
Yes, I like that. It looks good on the horse. Check this out.
Yes.
Looks all right, doesn't it?
Yes, indeed.
Little trick
I
of
must
the
say,
eyes.
I like your horse.
Oh, thank you. This is called Amelia.
Great name.
Yes. She's an Appaloosa, I believe. Oh,
That's beautiful breed.
can't say bloody
That's
thing in
mine.
here. Oh, what's yours?
This is Nightmare.
She's lovely. What is she?
She's a Dutch warm blood.
Oh, she's absolutely beautiful. Look at that. I say, should we tuck them round the back so that anybody that comes to the front doesn't know anyone's there, and then we can jump out on them?
Yes, great idea.
Should be alright there, shouldn't they? I say yours is
Indeed.
fantastic. Oh, it's rain. Boo!
Yes, good one.
Oh, jolly good. Okay.
The door has windows, just so you know.
Oh, it's so meant to do. Bloody hell. Any good places to creep out on anyone?
Yes, this is a wonderful one. You see,
Oh,
they come inside and you stand over here.
I see. Just here? Where? Just there?
Yes. How about I'll go stand and hunch over the piano so they look at me and not at you, and then you can jump out.
I like it.
Good. I can also hear the horses coming from here. This truly is a good place for this kind of thing.
I'm going to hunch over like a madman.
Yes, you should.
Just really having a good think about how to do that.
Well, you got to imagine you're a wild man.
A wild man, that's what it was.
Yes, that's what you're going to have to imagine you are.
I was trying to think of a wolf man for some reason.
Well, I get the confusion. But yes, you have to imagine yourself as a wild man.
Oh, there we go.
Here we go.
There we go.
Do you want to see a little spoiler?
Yes?
So people think this is the costume and then I'll take it off. And the reveal. There's a costume under the costume.
Have you taken it off?
Almost. Quite a lot.
Oh, that's wonderful. Oh, that's really good. And the way you hump yourself over like that, that's really something. Are you an actor?
Yes. No, not really.
Oh, you should think about being one.
Oh, I might. Do you do these kind of things often?
Never.
Well, here's to our first time then.
Indeed. It's just a bit of fun. Usually I'm an explorer. In fact, actually, now I've got your telegram, would you like to go exploring with me?
Well, of course. What kind of things do you tend to explore?
Well, I mean, we've gone to the nether regions of anywhere that we can, really. I mean, I think the next thing that we're going to do is look to go to Mexico. It could be dangerous.
Oh,
Nobody's ever gone to Mexico, you know.
no.
Well, when I say that, obviously there are people in Mexico, the Mexicans, and anyone else who goes there. But I mean, you know, it's quite treacherous.
Yeah, it's quite a dangerous place as well.
Travelling all the way past that tumbleweed place, you have to keep going, and then you get to this sea, and then you cross over the water with your horse. You have to do it with your horse, and then you have to travel very carefully around the outside of the land, all the way around to where the water's edge is. and eventually you're able to cross over the water. And I have a feeling you may well be able to get into Mexico.
Wow.
Yes. And if we can, if we survive, we could leave notes there saying that we were the first people to go to Mexico.
Yes. That's an amazing idea.
I think so. I left notes as far north as you can possibly go. They call it, what do they call it? Oh, I can't bloody remember. But it's in the next to nowhere anyway. You go as far north as you possibly can.
I see.
Well, how are we going to know people are coming up?
I'll go and stand by the window so I can
Yes,
hear
we
the
need to be
horses
ready
coming.
to get into position. That was me, sorry. Smashing.
I can't see anything through those windows.
Yeah, me neither. I'm going to try upstairs.
Sure. Oh, yes, you can look through those, actually.
Charles!
Someone's coming.
Oh my God, what is wrong with you? I was just about to say it was creeping it real.
Oh, you do look fantastic. Is that Miss Kitty?
Yes.
Oh, how wonderful. What, are you a blind nun?
Yeah, that's right.
I've absolutely no idea what I am.
Very scary.
Oh, thank you very much.
All right.
It's good about 5 minutes.
Just last minute filling in some details for my story.
Oh, jolly good, jolly good.
Some last minute writing. Don't worry about me.
Did you come with anybody?
I did. Petey Mudd is fixing the wagon, I think.
Oh,
and he'll be back.
Jolly good. Oh, well,
And a
thank you
couple
so much
others
for
might
coming.
join.
I really do think it's going to be a small, squalid affair. Hardly anyone around, really, at the moment. No blood
Crazy.
moon, nothing.
Yeah, that's strange because, I heard last season there was some darkness and some
Last
strange
season, the season
happening.
before that, and the season before that. Nothing.
Strange.
Oh well, people got lives, I suppose.
Hello?
Get away from me!
Oh my goodness me! Oh, that hurt. Oh, ow. Oh, I think Mr. Mudd took that a little
Squeaky
bit
floor.
seriously. He's punched me in the face. Oh, God's sake!
Who ate that?
All right.
I think he might have broken my bloody nose.
Who are you?
scaring me.
I'm just a person.
I can't hear nothing you're saying if you're saying something.
I said I'm just a person. Look at my face.
You bloody idiot. We're just people. You hurt
Oh.
me.
I'm sorry.
It's
You
me,
scared
Sir
me.
Henry. Taking
Are
it a
you
little bit
okay?
seriously, aren't you?
I'm so sorry.
I think you might have broken my nose.
You scared the shit out
Well,
of me.
that's the
I'm
bloody point, isn't it? It's supposed to be scary.
Oh, well, yeah, but I forgot.
Mr. Henry, if I might add, the blood does add a nice touch to your costume.
Oh, for goodness sake.
You scared me so bad. Where's Miss
Well,
Kitty?
I mean, that's good, isn't it, really? Because that's a
I
success,
didn't think
obviously.
anybody else
It's
was
a
here.
success. And you knew you were coming, and you knew it was a scary story evening,
Well,
and you
no,
knew people
yeah.
might be dressed up.
No, I didn't know people were going to be dressed up.
Well,
Nobody
you're
said
dressed
nothing
up.
about that.
Why are you dressed
Yeah.
up?
Well, I mean, I'm dressed up as the Cocaine King. I'm not dressed up as something scary, but I'm so sorry. We got
Oh,
here.
it's all
I brought
right.
Miss Kitty here.
Apology accepted. I'm sure you have.
And I went back to go fix the wagon, and I come back, and I can't find Miss Kitty, and I thought it was just her
She's
in there.
inside. She's finishing her story.
And then you come around the corner trying to... It scared me. I'm so sorry.
It's all right. Let's let bygones be bygones.
Well, you didn't have to scare me like that.
Well, you didn't have to punch me like that, really. But,
It was
it's
kind
water
of-
under the bridge now, anyway.
It was a reaction.
Yeah, well, that's fair enough. At least we know you can defend yourself if any nasties come around the block.
Oh, yeah. I used to be a dastardly bastard murderer, bank robber.
Yes, you told me. You killed several people.
Yes. Oh, so why do you think it was a good idea to scare me?
Because I thought you had a sense of humour. It's bloody Halloween, anyway.
Well, I didn't know it was. I didn't know it was meant to be funny. Just be glad I only punched you because I could have shot you.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough.
When I get scared, I go shooting.
Fair enough. Have you got any whiskey or brandy or something I can put on this?
No, but I have a deck. I have a
I don't want
toad.
to know any more about your bloody deck of cards. And that
have
reminds me, I've got to
I have a
find out
toad.
about how many wands it was or something. What was it? The 9 of wands?
Oh yeah.
That was it, wasn't it?
No, the
Inverted.
Ace of Wands.
No, that was my main card for the.
No,
for the
it
present.
was
the
something
future card?
Pinnacle. You got the Pinnacle card.
I'll have to
An
find
inverted pinnacle. What did it mean?
I have no idea, and I haven't found out yet. And I've been
Oh,
busy
I'm
getting
so
punched in the face.
I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to.
It's quite all right. Don't worry about it.
Oh, well, you
It's a lesson
need me
learned
to
for jumping out on people.
you need me to go get you. Well, I mean, like I was quiet, like I was yelling for people, and then you just come around the corner and you scared
Well, that's my
me.
opportunity to go rah. You understand, don't you, Mr. Kane? It's just a bit of fun.
I just was
But
planning
yeah,
on
but
doing
then
the
this
same.
guy come out
Just as
here
well he didn't
and,
punch you.
and just stood there looking at me. I
he
pulled my
did.
gun, and he wasn't. I couldn't hear nothing he was saying.
Yes, I mean, to be fair, he didn't punch me, but he did point his gun.
Have you got a gun on you now?
Yes.
Maybe that's just as well, actually, in case somebody comes to rob us.
I also have a sword.
Really?
Yeah, see it on my hip.
Oh, yes. That's jolly nice.
I know it's his costume, but this is a real sword.
Well, it's a real costume.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm
anyway.
looking at Bell.
Now let's crawl
You
back
guys want to
inside.
hear? You guys want to hear a real scary story?
Well, I do in a moment, yeah. Well,
Okay,
it's scary
I'll,
story
I'll,
time.
I'll,
isn't it?
I'll tell you.
Well, I'm just going for a wee anyway. I'll be back in a moment.
Of course.
Bloody idiots. Do a wee, yeah. I'm just doing a wee here.
Ricky and Riley. And one of the rules of the gang was is no intermingling. The young man I told you about, there was a rule in their gang, no intermingling. So the young man and Ricky and Riley were siblings. And one of the gang members decided that he'd start sneaking around and, doing stuff and, started seeing Riley romantically, hiding it from the other siblings. Right? And
Okay.
eventually, tensions boiled to a point. The other siblings found out about it. And the siblings told their sister, Riley, that there's a rule in the gang and that's no intermingling. And to break it off. Her loving her siblings and being an orphan like the other two, agreed. She didn't want to lose anybody. She broke things off with this man. We'll call him Timmy. And one day, Timmy got real drunk. Skunk drunk is what we would call it. And he showed up in town yelling outside of one of the apartments while they were having a gang meeting. And the Ricky, the older brother, was going through withdrawals because he had been on cocaine for way too long, so they chained him into a bed. So, leaving the other brother to run the gang on his own. He was a young man, 18. He didn't have much experience doing it, didn't really know what he was doing, but he knew he had to keep everybody safe. Well, that Timmy called that sibling out into the street and started screaming at him. He was real drunk, and that kid told him, "Hey, look, this really ain't the place to be having this kind of an argument." Eventually, Timmy got him real mad, and they got into a fight. Timmy lost the fight, and while he was laying down on the ground, collecting his sorrows in a broken heart, he started saying things that no gang member should ever say, especially in public, especially with two lawmen overseeing the whole confrontation. Yelling out gang hideouts, past jobs, future jobs, things of that nature. The young man decided that he had crossed the line. So he took Timmy out into the swamps. Over there, you see that, that cabin over there? Yeah, that cabin over there. And he shot Timmy 3 times in the head.
Oh my God.
And left his body there. And then, 2 days later, because everybody in the gang was super sad that he never got a proper burial. But what was he to do? If he were to grab the body and take it to the undertaker, everybody would know that he was a part of it.
Yes.
And the next day, 2 days after that, he was going up and down the shoreline looking for Timmy's body. Timmy's body did appear, but only partially. The wilderness has gotten to him. The curse of the swamp, the gators, snakes crawling from open wounds in his belly.
Oh, goodness.
The young man picked him up and dropped his body off right under this bell. Sent a telegram to law so he could be found. Sometimes you can still hear Timmy's voice stomping around the grounds about the love that he lost. The young man standing before you today is a changed man.
So is that you?
I killed Timmy.
Oh my word. How wonderful. I mean, that's awful. That's terrible. You bastard.
I'm a dastardly bastard.
I
told
like it.
you.
Yes.
Well, at
Good
least
charm,
you're
I have to
honest.
say, yes.
I've been charged for it, so.
And it was overkill as well. 3 bullets.
Yes, might you
Nah.
overkill. One would have done it.
Well, one, yes, lucky
Oh,
bullet.
yeah,
in
but
the
I
right
was
place.
real angry.
That's fair enough. Miss Kitty, how's your story going?
Yeah, pretty much finished.
Oh, that's wonderful.
But I just thought you guys should know that if you guys hear Timmy's voice wandering around the grounds, yelling of a broken heart, you might be worried.
Well, I thought you were
That's why I got so
wonderful.
scared when I seen you. I thought you was Timmy.
No, that's fair enough. This is what he'd look like, is it?
Well, no, Timmy was black, but, yeah. But I don't know. I've never seen a ghost. Maybe all ghosts are white. I don't know.
Do you believe in ghosts, really? Well, obviously you do, because you wouldn't have reacted the way you did when you punched me. You obviously believe that.
I don't know if I believe in ghosts, but I believe in real. And at that moment in time, you looked very fucking real to me.
Well, I feel very fucking
Well,
real.
if ghosts are real, I don't think punching them will help.
Anyway, should we read some stories?
It was a reaction.
Yes, let's.
Right, I suggest we go upstairs to the room where it's nice and lit.
Of course.
Follow
Let's
me.
go.
I don't think any other bugger's going to turn up anyway.
Well, we was gonna bring me and Miss Kitty was gonna bring a dead body, but
You should have done that.
but I told Miss Kitty no.
Why ever wouldn't you bring a dead body?
I don't
Exactly,
know.
that was my question.
No, I
So
told you
the
no.
one time that there has ever been appropriateness to bring a dead body, it'd be something like this, wouldn't it?
That's what I said.
I guess
Didn't
so.
she? I was right.
Right, I want you all to be seated, wherever you want. Or stand if you want.
You take that one.
That's fine, yeah.
Thank you.
I thought the storyteller should maybe sit here next to the lantern, because that's going to give the best luminosity. Would you like me
There's
to go
plenty of carpet
first?
to sit on.
Well, could you sit on the floor?
Oh, you can sit on the floor if you want, yes. Why don't come and sit near? Come and sit near, and I'll tell you a story. Right, got my book here, let's have a look. Now, this is a story called A Taste of Vinegar. David Vinegar steadied himself, and with a nervous breath, he focused his eyesight towards the trees, far into the woods, where he was so certain he had seen what could only have been described as a monster. This time he saw nothing but the woods before him, the trees swaying gently in the evening breeze, so still, barely a sound, so peaceful. It had been 1 week since the incident had occurred, but David Vinegar couldn't shake free the terror that he had felt that fateful July evening. He remembered with detail the night he first locked gaze with the creature. It must have stood at least 10 feet tall, glaring back at him, those furious eyes shining in the moonlight like a jaguar's. He had froze, not daring to take his eyes away from the hideous beast, rooted to the spot, paralyzed with fear. He tried to avert his gaze, if only for a second, and then looking back into the woods, nothing. The creature, it appeared, was just a figment of his imagination. Surely, it must have been. Such beasts do not walk this earth. David was sure of it, and yet he was also quite sure he was not dreaming either. He was wide awake, more so now than at any time he could ever remember.
Yeah, 'cause you're known for your spooky pee.
Oh gosh, is that somebody?
Yes, I hear people. Let me get them.
Oh, there's some people.
Oh.
Maybe we should give it a few minutes.
Oh, well, I mean, that's a taster, isn't it?
Very good.
Yeah, I wrote it myself, you know, Miss Kitty.
I've been very excited about this.
I'm very excited to hear other people's stories as well. I do like a good story. Or maybe it is more appropriate now it's going dark, you know.
Hello there.
Isn't Charles wonderful?
Casper? You alright? Is someone still at the top of the stairs?
Hello there. Welcome.
Hello.
Welcome!
Please come up here. Who is it?
It's all good. It's more people.
Oh, God. I mean, good.
I'm afraid I scared someone.
Good.
And he fell off the stairs.
Oh, my goodness me. And Petey Mudd hasn't punched anybody else in the face, has he?
No, he's hidden in a corner with his gun in hand.
Oh, my word. I can still feel blood trickling down my inner nostril.
I was making sure we weren't going to be.
Yes.
I hit Casper.
Miss Kitty, those shoes are delightful.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
They
Oh,
it's
they
They were
kind
a
of
little
stylish.
expensive, but
We're in here.
They do look expensive.
Hello.
Hello!
Oh, it's
Hello.
good to see you.
Do come in, come in. More the merrier.
Oh, okay.
Oh, how wonderful, a witch. Oh, it's lovely to see you.
oh, it was very scary.
Come on in.
Oh, how
Come on
fantastic.
in.
Yes, do come in.
Oh,
Grab a
what
seat,
a lovely
sit
witch.
down.
Howdy. It's me, Harold McGurtis.
Oh, I'm
Have a
ever so
peach.
glad you've all
Hey,
turned
I
up.
got something that every witch
I'm sorry,
should
Casper.
have.
It's okay.
I had started
Wait,
reading, but
a
I'm
toad?
going to start again.
Oh my
when
god, this
you
is going
guys
to be
are
the
ready.
medical department's toad.
Hooray!
Oh, we talked about this the
Oh,
other day.
thank you.
I'm Harold. I got peaches for days.
Oh,
I mean,
goodness
roll.
me, I really appreciate it.
I don't know how it's a perfect toad. It's a really good condition.
It's perfect.
Let's have a look at
Peaches
this.
are good for your teeth, you know.
You got a
that bit there.
smile
Oh, thank you.
from E to E. Jesus.
A mouth bit.
Cheers.
Well, you do look fantastic, all of you. What have you come as, gentlemen in red with the red hat?
I'm Harold McGurtis.
Oh, I see. Oh, yes, that's very good, yes. Yes, because, Mr. McGurtis, you do usually dress like that, don't you?
Hey,
Wow.
you scared them. Did they not swing at you?
Yeah, you haven't punched anybody else, have you, Mr. Mudd?
No.
Good.
Wait, who got punched?
I did.
Why did you get punched?
Well, because I did the darndest thing and jumped out and went rah, like you bloody well would on Halloween. And the reaction from Mr. Mudd was to punch me in the face. Apparently, he almost shot me.
Wow.
Okay,
I mean,
let's see.
it's Halloween. You
Actually, I don't like my back towards that door.
Right, can you all hear me anyway?
Certainly.
All right, shall I start the story again?
Yes.
Yes, please.
No, I really appreciate your patience with that, because I mean, hearing the beginning of the story again can be quite tedious. I am
No, please.
jolly glad that you all turned up anyway, so... Right. Here we go. Mr. Vinegar and the Wolf Man. David Vinegar steadied himself, and with a nervous breath, he focused his eyesight towards the trees, far into the woods, where he was certain he had seen what could only have been described as a monster. This time he saw nothing but the woods before him, the trees swaying gently in the evening breeze, so still, barely a sound and so peaceful. It had been 1 week since the incident had occurred, but David Vinegar couldn't shake free the terror he had felt that fateful evening of July. He remembered with detail the night he first locked gaze with the creature. It must have stood at least 10 feet tall, glaring back at him with those furious eyes shining in the moonlight like a jaguar's. He had froze, not daring to take his eyes away from the hideous beast, rooted to the spot, paralyzed with fear. He tried to avert his gaze, if only for a second, and then looking back into the woods. Nothing. The creature, it appeared, was just a figment of his imagination. Surely, it must have been. Such beasts do not walk this earth. David was sure of it. And yet, he was also quite sure he was not dreaming either. He was wide awake, more so now that at any time he could ever remember. He turned and started the long walk back to the manor house. It started to rain, gently at first, and then with more vigour. He quickened his pace, aware he was only a short distance away from his beloved Fanny and her delicious cream horns and brandy butter treats, which she served on a summer's evening, along with a good old-fashioned pot of Earl Grey. At last he arrived on the doorstep. Supper was indeed waiting for him in the drawing room. Khaki, the butler, took his sodden clothes and hung them to dry. David made his way to the drawing room, where his dear Fanny was waiting for him, her eyes shining like sapphires. David eventually drifted off to sleep that evening, many questions unanswered, unable to think of much else but what he had thought he had seen that fateful night. Outside, the weather deteriorated, the rain lashing down, the wind howling and rattling the window panes. Chapter 2. A Lucid Reality. The beast had got him. David could hardly move and was pinned down. 2 hairy, beast-like hands gripped his neck and tightened their grip around his till his eyes felt like they were going to burst from his face. The beast growled and snarled with a temper more fantastic than any champion wrestler. David knew this was it. This was the end. He wasn't afraid, and in those last few moments, for he had been a good man, and a man of God, regularly, and with conviction, he knew he was destined for a place of peace, and so he prepared himself. Suddenly he awoke, spluttering and shaking. He sat bolt upright. "My God!" he exclaimed. "I'm alive!" Sweat pouring from his brow, his pyjamas sodden. David was at the same time shaking with fear and with gratitude that the monster was not real, at least not this one, for this monster was but the manifestation of his fears and anxiety through the mechanism of the mind. He gathered himself at long last and stood to walk to the lavatory rooms and splash a little water on his brow. He drank several glasses of water and in that moment caught sight of his reflection in the mirror. The room was dim, as only a candle lit up his reflection, so at first he thought his eyes were deceiving him. You see, David had shaved that morning, as he did every morning, as he always preferred a smooth face over a rough, stubbly one. The face that looked back from him from the mirror was a bearded face. David fell back in shock. What on earth was happening to him? He looked at his hands. They too were covered in hair. David grabbed his shaving cream and frantically covered the back of his hands, and grabbing his razor, he carefully shaved his hands naked again, as he had always known them to be. Next, he tackled his newly acquired beard, until that too was just an unwanted memory. And finally, he fell back into bed and pulled the covers over his head. Exhausted, he fell asleep again quickly. Chapter 3. A Beastly Experience. David had arrived back at the edge of the woods. It was getting close to sundown, and he knew there was some chance he would see the monster again if he was patient, if he stayed long enough. He had packed with him a flask of brandy and a pastry he had saved from supper. As the moon appeared in the early evening sky and the last remnants of sunshine disappeared behind the landscape, David took a swig and gazed into the darkness of the woods, looking for those piercing eyes once more. Nothing. Not for an hour of him standing there did he even see a bloody badger. At long last, David plucked up the courage to step forward and walk into the woods. At first it seemed fairly easy to navigate in the dark, but after a few feet in, he had tripped already and almost fallen. "Curses!" he explained. "Oh, I wish I'd remembered to pack a lantern too," he said to himself. David's eyes slowly grew used to the lack of light in the woods. As he made his way deeper into the woods, he began to lose track of time, and of course was unable to see the face of his pocket watch in the darkness that surrounded him like a cold, unwelcoming night spirit. He seemed to have been in the woods for what seemed like an eternity. Eventually, he capitulated to the eternal darkness, and stumbling around, he at last found a hollow of an old tree trunk where he could shelter and perhaps rest a while. David must have nodded off for some time. He awoke with a start and sat up abruptly. It was clearly still dark in the woods, and now the moon was almost above him, a pale, full moon. He pulled himself up using a branch and steadied himself before walking onward through the woods, still obsessed about seeing and documenting the monster he had been so sure of witnessing just days ago. After some time, David thought he could see what looked like a clearing of sorts, perhaps the edge of the woods. Had he at last found an exit? Reaching the final trees, he tentatively looked out at the fields beyond. There was quite a bit of fog, but that was beginning to clear now, and David could see what looked like a person in the distance, a man, not much greater in size than to himself, and the man appeared to look back at him from the edge of the field, about 25 feet away. David stood, still looking back at the gentleman. As he focused his gaze on the man, David could see what he recognized as fear in the man's face, and a great deal of it too. The man appeared to be paralyzed to the spot, petrified, unable to tear his gaze away from David's, and as they locked gaze on each other, gazing in the dim light of that full moon, David was almost overcome with shock. Was the gentleman scared of what he saw? Was he scared of David? David eventually made a step in the direction of the man and tried to call out so as not to alarm, but to David's great horror, all that came from his vocal cords was a low and ominous growl. What on earth, he thought, and again tried to call out to the man and set his mind to rest, for there was nothing to be scared of, surely. Another low and menacing growl came from David's now crouched body. How long had he been crouching for? He didn't remember, his memory now quite hazy. How long had he been in the woods? He could not be sure anymore. The gentleman David was trying to call out to suddenly appeared to regain control over his movements and seemed to stagger backwards in fear, before turning and running for his dear life. Again, David tried to call out to the man, this time using all his strength. To great alarm, David let out an enormous howl, like that of a beast most almighty. He began to chase after the man, who was now in full flight, running furiously away. David was on all fours, but had no idea why. It seemed more natural than walking in this moment. The man ran into the fog and seemed to disappear into the fog, unable to be seen. David stopped, quite upset that he had scared the man, wanting for the opportunity to explain himself, not that anyone would believe his wild story, surely. Sure, Fanny would, but she would believe anything David said, the doting darling of a woman. David turned and made his way into the darkness once more. He was hungry and thirsty, searching for his flask and pastry. Where were they? It was at that moment that David realized he was quite bare, having taken off his trousers for some ungodly reason, his shirt now in tatters, ripped from snacking on branches. He looked down at his chest only to see a great load of hair. "What is this?" he exclaimed aloud. He looked at his arms. They too were hairy. He raised his hands to his face. A beard, he stammered. A face full of thick, long, black hair, more like fur of some kind. What had he become? How long had he been in those woods? Chapter 4. An endless darkness. Are you still all with me? Oh, wonderful. That's lovely. David made his way back in the direction he had come from, hoping to find his way back to the manor house, back to his dear Fanny, back to normality, if only he could remember such a thing. He seemed to be forever in those damned woods, like he was going around in circles for eternity. It must have been hours and hours since first night fell, and the moon was still high in the sky over him like it had not moved 1 inch. David heard scuffling close in the bushes. Like a shot, he dived into the bush, and without even realizing what he was doing, he pounced on the animal, grabbing it in his mouth and sinking his teeth into its warm flesh. He ripped the poor rabbit in half, blood running down the chin and neck. David felt a rush of adrenaline as he devoured the creature. He let out a great howl as he looked up at the full moon. The memories of his former life now just a blur. David made his way further back through the woods, towards the manor. Eventually, he came to where he thought he may have first entered those damned woods. Stumbling out into the clearing by the old wooden fence, David tried to walk upright, his body bent over and hunched. He could see the lights of the manor in the distance now. What would he say to his beloved Fanny, and old dependable Khaki the butler? What would they think to have such a brute turn up in the middle of the night, unannounced? David crept up towards the window of the drawing room and peered in, hoping to recognize a place he once called home, hoping to see his dear Fanny and have her recognize him, take pity on his bizarre and unaccountable situation. He longed dearly for her to understand. There she was, sitting, working on her crocheting, as she did often late into the evening, if she could not sleep. She must have been up worrying about where he was, her lovely long locks that fell to one side of her neck, her deep blue eyes. "Oh, God, I've missed her so much," he said to himself. He summoned the courage to knock at the window in the hope that he wouldn't startle or scare his dear Fanny. She looked up. Then at the window David was looking through, and in an instant her face turned to one of shock and absolute horror. She stood up suddenly, dropping what she was holding, and let out an almighty scream. David tried to call out to show her it was him, but again a deep and raucous howl was all he could manage. She ran from the room, screaming for Khaki to protect her. I must get to her and to explain, thought David. She must know it's me, and I will not hurt her. He scurried around to the main entrance, only to see the barrels of a double-barrel shotgun being raised up before him. Boom! David felt a rip of agony down his left side. Khaki the butler let off another blast. Boom! David fell to the ground. He felt a coldness come over him. His blood now leaving his body from the great wounds inflicted upon him. Lying on his back, he looked up only to see Khaki look down at him in absolute disgust. "That's okay, m'lady," he said in his trusty West Country accent. "I've neutralised that. God only knows what kind of monster that was. I never seen anything quite like it in my entire life." Fanny regained her composure, and picking up her skirt, she slowly made her way down the steps to see what it was Khaki had exterminated. What was this frightful sight that had threatened her so? David looked up at her shining, beautiful eyes, looking down at him. He tried to call out again, and this time he seemed able to say something other than an animalistic noise. "Fanny," he finally said out loud. To his great surprise, Fanny's face changed in that moment, from disgust to shock, as she realised This creature, its shirt, or what was left of it, it's what she remembered David was wearing just a few nights ago, before he left, going on about something in the woods he had to go and see. David? David? Oh, my lord! David, what has become of you? She said. She bent down beside his wolf-like body and reached out to hold his wolfy hand. David, I don't understand, she said. Funny, said David again. He could feel himself being pulled away from reality, from the world he thought he knew. His body cold now. No more pain. No more pain. Fanny, I love. David's head fell back from his body, limp. His memories faded to black. One final sleep. Forever to rest. That's the end?
Well, damn.
Wonderful.
What did you think of that?
It's very
Thank you
good.
ever so
That was
much.
great.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Terrifying.
Yeah, well, I hope so. It bloody well should be. So, yes, anybody who wants to go next, to raise your hands or let me know.
I'll give it a go.
Oh,
Is the Wolfman still out there?
Yeah, or if anyone needs to go for a wee or anything.
He seems certainly very dead. I mean, meow.
Yeah, but there was the other Wolfman.
Meow.
I'm going to sit down over here and enjoy a story.
Yes, thank you for that. That was great.
Good.
I think the Wolfman may be out there. Still.
Meow.
I mean, Mao.
Well, you set the bar quite high. Anyways, are you ready for the next one?
I certainly am.
Meow.
Good. The moon was veiled at night, and the sky hung heavy without a star. Even the crickets seemed to have lost their song. The church was cloaked in shadow, and I remember thinking how strange it was to see the night so dark that even the crosses had no silhouettes. I was cataloguing parish records by lamplight when one of the servants led a man inside, tall, thin, and pale as candle wax. He carried no lantern, no weapon, and no expression. At first I thought he was sick. His skin had the sheen of marble, his eyes sunken, yet very bright, too bright. He told me his name was Maurice Pritchett, and that he came to speak about an illness. Vampirism, he said, his tone so calm I almost laughed. He continued, I was told that you keep records of old superstitions, the kind of knowledge most scholars forget. I asked him who sent him. A woman called Tessa Gray, and I immediately remembered that name. A brave, beautiful young woman with a keen mind who had needed my assistance separating fact from fiction on the subject of the vampire. It had been 2 years, and I had never heard whether my advice had proved effective. You have spoken to her, I said. How is she? Dead, he replied coldly. She said your advice was invaluable, at least for the one vampire. When last I talked to her, she was tracking another. It killed her. I paused. Then the advice I gave her was not enough, I sighed. Why do you think it would be enough for you? Well, you see, I was a teacher once, he said. Therefore I know that if a student does not ask the right questions, the teacher cannot be responsible for his failure. And I very much intend to ask the right questions. And that he did. For hours he asked questions, and I answered what I could. He studied me with his intense eyes, committing every word I said to memory. Finally, I turned the questioning around and asked him, "You said you were a teacher once. Are you on an assignment for the university?" "No," he said. And finally I could detect some weariness in those feverish eyes of his. "I would like to continue this tomorrow night. First I need some sleep," he said. "You sleep during the day?" I asked him. Which, to my surprise, he only smiled, and after a brief pause, he answered. "When tracking your prey, you adapt their habits," he said. The next day he did return with more questions. This time very specific. He wanted to know about the paranoid, cruel, and most extremely aggressive form of vampirism. I told him these were called the strigoi, so hungry and aggressive that unlike other subspecies, they had a very hard time living amongst men. They can usually be found in caves or abandoned villages or houses. I told him of a rumor of some roaming the wilds near Ennisburg, near the Elysian Pool. They will most likely attack on sight. He listened carefully and asked more questions, until at last he was ready to leave again. "I will not see you for a few days," he said, "but I will return and tell you how helpful your information has been." And, well, true to his word, the man returned to my study after midnight. 4 days later, there was a fresh scar on his face, but he was smiling. "Your advice helped me very much," he said, "but you should know that strigoi have an ability you didn't mention. They don't make sound as they stalk you." It was quite a nasty surprise, being grabbed from behind without any warning. "How remarkable," I said with a laugh, "and terrifying. You're lucky you survived." "I have come for more information," he said. "There are more subspecies out there. I want to know more about them." And so I did. I told him of the ones that lure wandering men, and as a meat-eating plant would lure a fly. The serpentes, those who use desire as a most deadly weapon, indistinguishable from humans, but extremely deadly. They can always be found near lakes and ponds that catch the moonlight undisturbed, for their songs share a connection with the waters they enthrall. After listening to me, he once more bade me farewell, promising to return in a few weeks. And once again, he did, with new information. "You are mostly correct," he said. "But did you know that their songs must be finished before they can attack? I managed to catch her in her second verse." "You must have surprised it then, for no man that I know of has ever managed to resist their song," I told him. "Your field knowledge is becoming impressive. I wish I had met you decades ago." He narrowed his brow and asked again, "Now tell me of the source. All curses start somewhere. Where can I find the source of this hidden power?" And, of course, as I did before, I told him what I could. According to some stories, there are but 3. Others claim 7. Nonetheless, there are but a few out there. Their true name was unknown, lost in history. But there were experts at concealment. If they kept themselves well fed, they were indistinguishable from the living. They were cultured, more civilized than the lesser ones. Their victims always very carefully chosen and unaware after the deed had been done. They will be difficult to find, Morris, and even more difficult to surprise. He nodded. and said, "But I will seek one out and tell you what I have learned." I nodded, knowing then that this was a man on an internal quest. He wouldn't be satisfied, but with the barest hint of how things were, he needed to know it all. He did not return for a month, and on the night that he did, I could see the frustration and despair, though there were no lights burning in my study. I failed, he said. You were right. I could not find a single one. It was then that I brought the candlelight up to my face and smiled. He was surprised, even stunned by the pallor of my flesh, the dark circles around my eyes, and the teeth. Oh yes, the teeth definitely surprised the man who could not afford to be surprised. The light went out. He did not land the first blow, nor the last. There was only the sound of breath, but not his.
I say.
Goodness
That's
me.
really rather good.
Oh wow.
Well, thank you.
Turn it around at the end there.
Yes, I did enjoy that. Did you write that yourself?
I did.
Oh, that's jolly good.
That's good.
That's pretty good.
Think of that.
All right. So who's up next?
Did anyone else bring a story to read?
I'm afraid I joined rather last minute.
Yeah, me
That's
as well.
not a problem. I'm glad you're enjoying them. That's fine.
All right, I have a story. I'm not very much of a writer, but I have a little story that I've been thinking about for a while that I thought I'd share. Well, it's not so much a story as it's an excerpt of a diary that I inherited from a friend.
Do
Let me
tell.
just read from it. Now, this... Oh, gosh, I can't see a thing. I'm just going to have to take off my...
Yeah, it's probably a good idea if you're
No,
going
I
Scoop
have
them
to
up a
leave
little
that.
bit. Yep.
There we go. Ah. All right, so it's a little bit piecework as I go through the diary. But the first entry says, "Grandmother says there's a curse on this land. This rumored death does not fear title, coin, or tears. And 3 times each full moon has passed, some unfortunate accident has befallen. She says this is not the first time this has occurred, that this land has been cursed for an age we cannot fathom. And each strange death means 1 moon closer to the end of the cycle. And yes, I have found myself feared these stories from grandmother. 4 months of death, she said, 4 full moons, and our family is small. I at 15, my sister at 17, father and dear mother, and of course grandmother, who had credited her survival of the curse as to never leaving the house. My father, the least swayed and superstitious by this rumored excitement, as of late, and the one who married into this family and home has stayed confident and cool, and has reassured us, his children and mother. My mother was grateful to have someone sane and cool-headed in the home after growing up in an eccentric household, full of her mother's fears. She wanted to distance herself from the terror she had grown up with this curse. She would always say that our house was one of light and love, and truly until recently it has been. My father's confidence has, quote, only ever been tolerated, as grandmother says. She points her finger and moans each day at him, quoting how close the moon is. And each month a local friend has passed, or servant, and she reminds him of his foolishness. With each month his confidence has waned like the moon. However, and my father has become tired, concerned with dark circles under his eyes. He's filled with the same paranoia my grandmother has thrived in for many decades. They spend long hours in the evening talking and whispering in rooms at night of the curse, how it's operated, its long, strange history with local folks spanning over 1,000 years. And if anything can break it, Father asks many questions and grandmother seems to have the answers. How when the curse was alive, it seemed to strike at the full moon 4 times each time, then disappearing for undetermined, uneven times, but each time death and devastation, then quiet enough to cause doubt. The local doctor ruled each death accidental. One of our young maids fall down the stairs, our wagoneer's heart attack in a lone corridor, and lastly, our stablemen had perished from a devastating trampling. Every single horse, it seemed, had turned on him and kicked him to death. It's said to be a most highly unusual death indeed. They said when he discovered his body, it was so mangled that the only way he could identify him was on good merit by my father that it was the stableman. And he could not be located elsewhere. The house has begun to feel suffocating as the moon approaches. Each passing night, the tension rising, everyone's mood swinging, fighting each other. My sister has twice now begged to be allowed to travel to our auntie's for a fortnight to stay, but father and mother have both denied her request. The family shall stay together. It was the only way to be sure, father would say. There was much arguing and crying, and everyone seemed to be in their own crucible of thought. Well, I can no longer stand it. Tonight I will muster the courage to venture into the night. I pulled a small cloak over my nightgown and took to the cold night. I looked to the full moon as a warning as I headed toward the nearby wood where I often explored as a child. For some minutes I walked alone to the sound of quieting animals and night creatures scurrying away as I passed. And after time, I knew I was not alone. To my surprise, I heard some rustling ahead, the clunking of footsteps. Someone heading somewhere with the confidence of knowing the path. And I saw a lantern swinging against a tall silhouette. And then a sudden chill rose on my spine, and relief as I realized I was too far away to see. But it was headed in a direction which would not cross my path. But the relief didn't last long when I realized it was my father. I held my hands to my face to stop from gasping and compose myself before curiosity took over. Where's he going? What was he doing? My mind raced with questions. And for some time I carefully followed behind, sure not to alert him with my presence. The lantern made it easy, and soon enough we arrived to a strange hollow covered in willow trees. Their limbs greedily swooping the wet floor, and the stretching ponds with their many-leafed limbs. And something about this place filled me with familiar dread. But before I could think as to why, a shrill song pierced the night. I had never heard this melody, but somehow I knew it. As when you're in a dream and knowing something to be absolute fact, even if it was a ridiculous notion in the daytime. And as the song faded, the lantern slowly went to the ground as my father perched close to the water's edge and sat on an intricate wooden bench. He whistled the melody back, and as he lit his pipe, filling the hollow with the smell of our living room and a brief flash of light, the singing morphed into a strange, echoing voice akin to human, but not quite right. The voice cooed and hissed, and a figure that was beautiful, nude, and long-haired appeared from within the murky depths, and she was pale, and her skin seemed somehow very blue under the moon. And her eyes lacked any white sclera, and were perfectly black as the water around her. And who have you chosen for the last one who grants you immortality, she sang. And to my astonishment, he said, my daughter. I tried not to scream as I held my hands against my face. And the world felt cold and slow as he nodded confirmation to himself and repeated the words that stung like a knife. My daughter Isabel. The wood went silent, and suddenly I felt alone and exposed, and her eyes, which were fixated on my father, suddenly looked to me. Everything slowed down, and she said, "Yes, Isabel, but why not her sister?" My father shook his head. "Why should it matter? And how do you know of her? Has she been here? What have you said to her?" The echoing voice laughed in the night, and the only sound was her voice. My father seemed to clench his fists but then relax them, and she swung back a little, singing the name Isabel. "Your father wants to live forever, Isabel, and so he shall." She reached her hand out to him, and he stood away from the bench and approached the water as she sang. He got on his knees, and she leaned back more. "Join me to complete the ceremony," she sang, her eyes locked on me. And the creature, she stood from the water after pulling him in and walked to me, startling me with my name. "Elizabeth," she said hoarsely as she placed a warming, wet finger to my chin, whispering that she would never sing again, before she pushed me away like an annoying insect and disappeared forever into the woods. Before I left that night, I could see my father's face, different under the moon, more blue, his eyes black, and his voice singing to me, crying for help. I ran home, and when I returned to find my sister curled and twisted like a dead spider in her bed, I vowed to never allow anyone in those woods again. Father, of course, never returned, and grandmother never spoke except to mutter about the cursed until she died the next day. And my mother remained in grief. And so I took over the household and built the hedgerows that now cover those woods. But now I'm old and feeble, and I just simply pray no one finds that hollow. The end.
I say, that was jolly
me.
marvellous.
Amazing.
Absolutely fantastic.
God damn.
Well, the idea of her all curled up in bed like a dead spider.
That's
That's quite something.
So,
terrible. Oh shit. Good stuff, y'all.
Yeah, I'm really very impressed. Has anybody else got any more stories?
I mean,
I'm going to have to say it's bloody
I
massive.
might,
What's happening outside? I could swear I hear noises.
I mean, it was raining
Maybe.
cats and dogs.
I say the
There was a
thunder
bit of
really happened
lightning.
at the right time as well when you were telling
Yes,
us.
Oh,
that,
goodness,
that
yes.
that was a
That
great
made me-
detail, yes.
yeah, I carried on because I didn't want to make mention, but I was happy about
No,
it.
carrying on was the
Yeah, it was
wise decision.
absolutely
Yes, it
perfect.
was indeed. I do actually have one, if you're willing to listen.
I'm very, very
Of
very
course.
I mean, it's
appreciate it.
nothing written by myself,
I'll let you have the nice chair.
classic, but it's rather frightening, I must say. I quite enjoy it. Try and find this.
Get comfortable. I say this gown is rather itchy now.
So, this isn't mine, but it is one of my favourites. It's called The Telltale Heart. True. Nervous. Very, very dreadfully nervous. I had been and am. But why will you say that I am mad? The disease has sharpened my senses, not destroyed, not dulled them. Above all was the sense of hearing, acute. I heard all things in the heaven and in the earth. I heard many things in hell. How, then, am I mad? Hearken, and observe how healthily, how calmly I can tell you the whole story. It is impossible to say how first the idea entered my brain, but once conceived, it haunted me day and night. Object there was none. Passion there was none. I loved the old man. He had never wronged me. He had never given me insult. For his gold I had no desire. I think it was his eye. Yes, it was this. One of his eyes resembled that of a vulture. A pale blue eye with a film over it. Whenever it fell upon me, my blood ran cold. And so, by degrees, very gradually, I made up my mind to take the life of the old man, and thus rid myself of the eye forever. Now, this is the point. You fancy me mad. Madmen know nothing, but you should have seen me. You should have seen how wisely I proceeded, with what caution, with what foresight, with what dissimulation I went to work. I was never kinder to the old man than during the whole week before I killed him. And every night, about midnight, I turned the latch of his door and opened it. Oh, so gently. And then, when I had made an opening, sufficient for my head, I put in a dark lantern, all closed. Closed so that no light shone out. And then I thrust in my head. Oh, you would have laughed to see how cunningly I was. I moved very slowly, very, very slowly, so that I may not disturb the old man's sleep. It took me an hour to place my whole head within the opening, so far that I could see him as he lay upon his bed. Ha! What a madman would have been so wise as this? And then, when my head was well in the room, I undid the lantern, cautiously. Oh, so cautiously. Cautiously, for the hinges creaked. I undid it just so much that a single thin ray fell upon the vulture eye. And I did this for 7 long nights. Every night, just at midnight. But I found the eye always closed. And so it was impossible for me to do the work. For it was not the old man who vexed me, but his evil eye. And every morning when day broke, I went boldly into the chamber and spoke courageously to him, calling him by name in a hearty tone and inquiring how he had passed the night. So, you would see how he would have been in a very... So, you see, he would have been a very profound old man indeed to suspect that every night, just at 12, I looked in upon him while he slept. Upon the 8th night, I was more than usually cautious in opening the door. A watch's minute hand moves more quickly than did mine. Never before that night had I felt the extent of my own powers. I could scarcely contain my feelings of triumph. To think that there I was, opening the door little by little, and he not even to dream of my secret deeds and thoughts. I fairly chuckled at the idea, and perhaps he heard me, for he moved on the bed suddenly, as if startled. Now you may think that I drew back, but no. His room was as black as pitch with a thick darkness. The shutters were close-fastened through fear of robbers, and so I knew that he could not see the opening of the door. I kept pushing it on, steadily, steadily. When I had my head in and was about to open the lantern, my thumb slipped upon the tin fastening, and the old man sprang up in bed, crying out, "Who's there?" I kept quite still, whole hour, I did not move a muscle. And in the meantime, I did not hear him lie down. He was still sitting up in the bed, listening, just as I have done, night after night, hearkening to the death watchers in the wall. Presently, I heard a slight groan, and I knew it was the groan of mortal terror. It was not a groan of pain or of grief, oh no, it was a low, stifled sound that arises from the bottom of the soul when overcharged with awe. I knew the sound well. Many a night, just at midnight when all the world slept, it has welled up from my own bosom, deepening with its dreadful echo. The terrors that distracted me. I say I knew it well. I knew what the old man felt, and pitied him, although I chuckled at heart. I knew that he had been lying awake ever since the first slight noise. He turned upon the bed. His fears had ever since been growing upon him. He had been trying to fancy them causeless, but he could not. He had been saying to himself, "It is nothing but the wind in the chimney. It is only a mouse crossing the floor, or it is merely a cricket which has made a single chirp." Yes, he has been trying to comfort himself with these suppositions, but he had found all in vain. All in vain, because death, in approaching him, had stalked with his black shadow before him and enveloped the victim. And it was the mournful influence of the unperceived shadow that caused him to feel, although he neither saw nor heard, to feel the presence of my head within the room. When I had waited a long time, very patiently, without hearing him lie down, I resolved to open a very, very little crevice in the lantern. So I opened it. You cannot imagine how stealthily, until at length a single dim ray, like the thread of a spider, shot from the crevice and fell upon the vulture eye. It was open, wide open, and I grew furious as I gazed upon it. I saw it with perfect distinctness, all a dull blue, with a hideous veil over it that chilled me to the very marrow in my bones. I could see nothing else of the old man's face or the person. I had directed the ray, as if by instinct, precisely upon the damned spot. And now have I not told you, but what you mistake for madness is but over-acuteness of the senses. Now, I say, there came to my ears a low, dull, quick sound, such as a watch makes when enveloped in cotton. I knew that sound too well. It was the beating of the old man's heart. It increased my fury, as the beating of a drum stimulates a soldier into courage. But even yet, I refrained. I kept still. I scarcely breathed and held the lantern motionless. Tried how steadily I could maintain the ray upon the eye. Meanwhile, the hellish tattoo of the heart increased. It grew quicker and quicker, and louder every instant. The old man's terror must have been extreme. It grew louder, I say, louder every moment. Do you mark me well? Have I told you that I am nervous? So I am. And now, at the dead hour of the night, amid the dreadful silence of that old house, so strange a noise as this excited me to uncontrollable terror. Yet, for some minutes longer, I refrained and stood still. But the beating grew louder. I thought the heart must burst. And now a new anxiety seized me. That sound would be heard by a neighbour. The old man's hour had come. With a loud yell, I threw open the lantern and leapt into the room. He shrieked once only. In an instant, I dragged him to the floor and pulled the heavy bed over him. I then smiled gaily to find the deed so far done. But for many minutes, the heart beat on with a muffled sound. This, however, did not vex me. It would not be heard through the wall. At length, it ceased. The old man was dead. I removed the bed and examined the corpse. Yes, he was stone dead. I placed my hand upon the heart and held it there many minutes. There was no pulsation. He was stone dead. His eye would trouble me no more. And if still you think me mad, you will think so no longer when I describe the wise precautions I took for the concealment of his body. The night waned, and I worked hastily, but in silence. First of all, I dismembered the corpse. I cut off the head and the arms and the legs. And then I took up 3 planks from the flooring of the chamber and deposited all between the scantlings. I then replaced the boards so cleverly, so cunningly, that no human eye, not even his, could have detected any wrong thing. There was nothing to wash out. No stain of any kind, no blood spot, whatever. I had been too wary for that. A tup had caught it all. When I had made an end of these labours, it was 4 o'clock, still dark as midnight. As the bell sounded the hour, there came a knocking on the street door. I went down to open it with a light heart, for now, what had I to fear? There entered 3 men, who introduced themselves with perfect suavity as officers of the police. A shriek had been heard by a neighbour during the night. Suspicion of foul play had been aroused. Information had been lodged at the police officers, and they had been deputed to search the premises. I smiled, for what had I to fear? I bade the gentleman welcome. The shriek, I said, was my own in a dream. The old man, I mentioned, was absent in the country. I took my visitors all over the house. I bade them search well. I led them, at length, to his chamber. I showed him his treasures, secure, undisturbed. In the enthusiasm of my confidence, I brought chairs into the room, and desired them here to rest from their fatigues, while I, myself, in the wild audacity of my perfect triumph, placed my own seat upon the very spot beneath which reposed the corpse of my victim. The officers were satisfied. My manner had convinced them, and I was singularly at ease. They sat, and while I answered cheerily, they chatted of familiar things. But ere long I found myself getting pale, and wished them gone. My head ached, and I fancied a ringing in my ears. But still they sat, and still chatted. The ringing became more distinct. It continued. I talked more freely to get rid of the feeling, but it continued and gained definitiveness, until at length I found that the noise was not within my ears. No doubt I now grew very pale, but I talked more fluently and with a heightened voice. Yet the sound increased. And what could I do? It was a low, dull, quick sound, much such a sound as a watch makes when enveloped in cotton. I gasped for breath, and yet the officers heard it not. I talked more quickly, more vehemently, but the noise steadily increased. I arose and argued about trifles and in high key and with violent gesticulations, but the noise steadily increased. Why would they not be gone? I paced the floor to and fro with heavy strides, as if excited to fury by the observations of the men. But the noise steadily increased. Oh God, what could I do? I foamed, I raved, I swore, I swung the chair upon which I had been sitting and it grated upon the boards, but the noise arose all over and continually increased. It grew louder, 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 and still the men chatted pleasantly and smiled. Was it not possible they heard not? Almighty God, no, they heard. They suspected. They knew. They were making a mockery of my horror. This I thought, and I think. But anything was best than this agony. Anything was more tolerable than this derision. I could bear those hypocritical smiles no longer. I felt that I must scream or die. And now, again, hark! Louder! Louder! Villains! I shrieked, dissemble no more. I admit the deed. Tear up the planks, here. It is the beating of his hideous heart. And that's it.
My goodness me, that was absolutely wonderful.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Absolutely fantastic
Love this.
finale.
I love a bit of Poe. I'm sorry.
Oh, you really are a good storyteller, I have to say.
Oh, I appreciate that.
That was quite...
Just don't put me on a stage.
No, that was great. Thank you, Casper.
Thank you,
No,
Casper.
Glad you all liked it.
does anybody have any other stories to say? To tell?
Not that I can rightly think of.
Oh, well, then
I
I'd
did
like
have,
to... Oh, sorry, what did you say, Charles?
Oh no, I no longer have it. I did have another good one, but I sold it sadly.
No.
Well, I'd like to say a hearty congratulations to everybody, and thank you very much for coming along. I think it's been absolutely fantastic. I don't know what you're all going to get up to tonight, but I hope you don't have nightmares. They're just stories.
Yeah,
And
well,
I'm really very, very grateful that you turned up. I think it's been a lovely evening, don't you?
Yes, thank you for organising
Thank
it.
you.
Oh, well, thank you for coming, because it wouldn't have happened without people coming along to enjoy it. So, thank you once again.
no problem. Glad we heard about it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. And with that, I must depart for...
Yes.
Yes, I have business to attend to. Probably to get
Let's
rid
do
of
it.
these ridiculous garms.
Yes, let's clamber out of this house, I
Yes.
suppose.
Oh God.
I've got
I need to send a tip, don't I? God damn it. Send a bloody tip.
There you are, Amelia.